Continuing on with the Clone Wars chronological order, I hopped on over to the final episode in the Ahsoka Learns Political Unrest on Mandalore arc. Season 4, Episode 14, A Friend in Need. Mandalore is chosen as a neutral ground for a meeting between the Separatists and the Republic. Lux Bonteri, the son of Mina Bonteri, the Separatist senator who Padme was friends with, shows up and accuses Count Dooku of murdering his mother. He's dragged away for interrupting the meeting. He's being dragged away to be investigated, and Ahsoka follows him. I'm really interested how watching the Clone Wars not in chronological order would be. This episode and the last episode are an entire season apart, which means the vast majority of people that watch the Clone Wars not in chronological order probably have a way better memory than I do. Anyway, Lux is brought before a hologram of Dooku. Lux says he will have his revenge. Dooku orders the droids to kill him, but Ahsoka shows up in the nick of time and helps him escape. Lux has his own plan, and he doesn't want help from the Republic. I like how Lux is acting. He's seeing red. All this negotiating nonsense, all this peace talks, all this investigation and immunity. He doesn't want any of it. Dooku killed his mom, so he's gonna kill Dooku. His friends will not get in his way. He has to do what he thinks he has to do. He says he's no longer a separatist, and he doesn't want to join the Republic, saying that there's another way. Doesn't really see two sides of the conflict, I guess. So he shocks Ahsoka, knocks her out, pretty much steals the ship, diverts it to the planet called Karlak. When they arrive on Karlak, it's revealed that the group that Lux was in contact with was actually Death Watch, so the story has come full circle. He's getting help from this terrorist organization. As Ahsoka and Lux are transported through a Death Watch encampment, we see some of the Death Watch soldiers being cruel to the droids. They're toying with some droids, shooting at their feet, making them dance, blasting one of them, and as that droid falls to its death, it says, "Why?" Empathizing with droids and robots in science fiction is something I've always found interesting. It's been a theme in so many pieces of science fiction, from Blade Runner to L3 and Solo, from 1951's The Day the Earth Stood Still to Her, Ex Machina, RoboCop even, Terminator, Alien, Star Trek, Westworld, and 1,000 other things. I've always loved this kind of robot freedom, robot consciousness in science fiction. So Lux has a device that will pinpoint Dooku's exact location. Some Death Watch troops bring R2 into a room full of a bunch of destroyed droids, and they tell R2 to repair them so they can use them as target practice once again. The droids keep repeating, "Please, reassemble us." They start creeping towards R2 like downed soldiers begging for help, like an injured animal hobbling towards cover. It was kind of a creepy scene, but kind of a sad scene at the same time, unless you're a sociopath. Ahsoka is thrown into a tent with some prisoners. These prisoners were taken off of their land. They're very symbolic to Native Americans, and these prisoners were basically made to serve Death Watch. The chief of this tribe comes into the Death Watch leader's tent, telling him that he's had enough. He wants his land back, he wants the women back, he says. He wants all that stuff back. The Death Watch leader agrees and says he'll return everything to normal at sunrise. Obviously, he's not going to keep his word, so he starts torching the town, tries to kill them all, massacring the weak, as he calls it. But Ahsoka has enough, tries to fight back, and is ultimately captured herself. R2 comes in to save the day, hands Ahsoka her lightsabers, and she starts kicking some ass. So now it's Ahsoka, Lux, and a bunch of droids that R2 repaired against Death Watch. They escape after a chase with Death Watch. They board their ship and leave the planet, but Lux is leaving on an escape pod. He can't be held back by the restrictions of the Republic. He needs his revenge. I'm really curious where he's going to come into play later on in the show. If I had to guess, he'll come back as somewhat of a villain, someone that our heroes have to confront in the future. I'd be very surprised if I don't see Lux again later on in the show. We'll see. The biggest takeaway from this episode that I got was a twist on an old phrase. The enemy of my enemy is often just as much of an asshole as my enemy. Trusting a murdering, lawless organization like Death Watch to hold up their end of the bargain or believe in any form of justice was unrealistic. That's the lesson that Lux learned, and I hope that lesson comes into play later on in the series. HelloGreedo, out.